We have no public comment this evening. All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Good evening, everyone. Before we jump into tonight's meeting, I want to remind folks that Election Day is tomorrow. Make sure you vote. We are going to talk about our strategic partnerships this evening and summer programming. And before we do that, we will pass the minutes. I move to approve the minutes from the instruction work group dated March 2nd, 2026.
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Castro. All those in favor, or I'm sorry, Claire, your advisory vote.
Aye.
All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. All right, without further ado, we will talk about strategic partnerships and hear from our superintendent, Dr. Joe Gothard.
Thank you very much, Board Chair Muldrow, members of the board, community, staff and community. Great to have you here this evening. We've got wonderful subject matter experts, partners, dedicated folks who are out doing great work in service of students in our schools. And tonight, Cindy Green is going to kick off our panel discussion on our strategic partnerships. With that, I'll turn it over to Cindy.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gothard. Just before I continue, I want to confirm that you can all hear me.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, perfect. I apologize that I am not able to be there in person, but you have yourself in great hands with Sonia Spencer as well. So I will get us started. Jesse, could you please go to the next slide? As always, we want to start with our new MMSD vision, where we will be a learning community. All students are valued, challenged, supported, and inspired to reach their dreams. Next slide, please. And how we will accomplish that vision is through our mission. MMSD creates safe and inclusive schools, delivers high quality instruction, strengthens positive relationships, and partners with family and the community to achieve student self-determination and educational excellence. And I'm excited tonight we'll show real examples of how we are using this mission through our community partners to get to our vision. Next slide, please. And our guiding commitments, ensuring that we're leading with equity, fostering belonging, delivering meaningful learning, improving with purpose, and embracing our collective impact. Next slide, please, Jesse. Thank you. So tonight, we're really excited. We have an update on all of the work that has happened to date since the last time we talked to the Board of Education related to strategic partnerships. And since then, strategic partnerships has moved under a new office, strategy and innovation. And so we're excited to share some exciting progress, introduce some new partners, as well as discuss some of the further work we still have to do. Before I turn it over to Sonia, I'd like to introduce some of the wonderful people around the table that are helping make some of the progress we're sharing tonight possible. We have Corby White, who supports and leads Improve Your Tomorrow, which is a new partnership for us around mentoring. We have Caitlin Quinlan, who leads the work with UW Wisconsin Athletics, and we're excited to share a little bit of that. And then we also have one of our principals, Lori Lopez, who is the principal of Sandburg Elementary School, who is going to be able to provide some updates around the impact that partnerships have at the local level. And last but not least, Sonia Spencer, who is the lead for our Department of Strategic Partnerships. She has a very small but mighty team and does amazing work. While there is no action tonight for the Board of Education, the Board of Education will have action later on this spring as it relates to a renewal of a high-intensity partnership. We'll talk a little bit about that partnership tonight and allow for the board to have insight into the progress of that partnership before this high-intensity partnership MOA will come to the board later this spring for vote and action. With that, could you go to the next slide, please, Jesse? All right, I am going to turn it over to Sonia Spencer, and she's going to walk us through the next few slides.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, members of the board. Dr. Gothard, thank you for having us. Really excited to share a little bit about strategic partnerships, where we are and our vision and what this looks like for us as a district. So we wanted to first ground you with, again, who we are, who strategic partnerships are. And one of the things that we have come to notice is that when we, as a district, align partnerships with district priorities, when we build connected ecosystem, when we engage community of co-educators who are all of our stakeholders and partners, when we strengthen thriving schools, and when we expand capacity through volunteer engagement, our partnerships are intentional and are grounded to our district priorities and our students' needs. Next slide. So just kind of wanted to also ground us a little bit and go a little bit backwards, but thinking about the future, where we were last year to where we are now. Just a reminder again, last year, we did emphasize where we were in 2025. Over the past year, we focused on building a more aligned, visible, and impact-driven partnerships system. So we continue with those 3 bullets that you see there. Storytelling, making sure that partnerships is very visible, not only to our district staff, but also our external stakeholders and our community. And you hear a little bit more about the way in which we are approaching that. Making sure that we have a strategic and a proactive engagement with our partnerships. And then, of course, making sure that we continue to strengthen our systems and the infrastructure of partnerships. So we continue to adhere to and honor board policy, which is 7544. We want to make sure that we're still elevating the different intensity levels of our partnerships, which are again, low intensity, medium intensity, and high intensity. Now, just also wanted to share that regardless of the level that a partnership falls under, if it is over the threshold of 60K, it is a requirement that the board is notified or the board approves the partnership before we continue. So we wanted to make sure that we continue to ground this policy because it is the policy as it stands now. Did you know? Last year, we did an extensive survey to just kind of gauge where our partnerships are, number of partnerships that we have in the different categories. So last year we did a survey. We sent it out both to district staff, and we call those district leads, district department managers and owners of the district that manage a partnership, and also to all of our 52 school sites. So we have over 250 partners currently, and that is either on a small scale partnership or large scale partnership. We have over 5,000 volunteers in our volunteer system. And no, maybe not all 5,000 are active, but we do have 5,000 volunteers who are dispersed throughout the district, different school sites, and volunteering in different capacities. We also have our Adaptive School partnerships, who are through the Foundation for Madison's Public School. And those Adaptive School partnerships are those partners that are managed through the foundation, but yet continue to serve most of our school sites. Not all schools have an Adaptive School partnership, and we are aware of that. So we continue to work with the foundation to make sure that we're leveraging this so that at least all 52 schools have one Adaptive School partnership. And of course, with 52 schools served, as you can see the numbers again, we have 32 elementary schools, 12 middle schools, and 8 high schools. As I mentioned earlier, we did 2 surveys last year. It was a round of survey, was our first time. We continue to do the surveys. We really wanted to understand what the current state of partnerships were and what categories that they served under. So again, through the survey, when we received them back, both from district staff and also from school sites, the areas at the partnership categories that we found to really be impactful or that were present within what was shared with us. Of course, as you can see there, literacy was at the top of the leaderboard, arts and culture, pre-college programs, of course, basic needs and pathways, professional development, culture and climate, mental and physical health, transition education program, mentoring and tutoring, community and family engagement. Now, I just kind of wanted to pinpoint professional development. The areas in which we are partnered in that can look very different. So, but these key category areas, which is some of the areas that popped up during the survey, when we sent out the surveys. Go ahead, Jesse. So at this time, we wanted to just give you a short glimpse of what partnership has looked like this past year and these past few months. So we put together this quick snapshot of some of our partnerships and what they look like right now. So go ahead, Jesse.
We're excited about the opportunity to help focus on some of the literacy pieces, the belonging pieces, especially with Girls on the Run programming.
The kids are so enthusiastic. They are absolutely just, they are insatiable learners.
Being able to bring community together, being able to bring organizations like our organization that focuses on Eruption and others throughout our city. This is what community is supposed to look like.
I really appreciate that the district have our work in high regard, so that really gets me excited.
So with that, there is a guidance that kind of puts everything together. And last year, what we ended up doing is we revised and we created a new guidance that really gives us more clarity, more alignment, and accountability for all partners. Whether you are small or large, in whatever capacity you serve, we want to make sure that the guidance speaks to everything that we do here as a district. So one of the things that we are really excited about is forming our new webpage, partnerships webpage, specifically that. There's still a lot of work that comes to that. We are collaborating also with our tech department to create a site where it is real time, where stakeholders and district staff, if you are looking to partner with the district, you'll be able to go into our webpage, take a look at a school and see exactly how many partners that school has. So it'll give you that real-time indication of what category is needed at this school site or what partnership is needed, and just tell a little bit more of the story. But for now, we have kind of revamped our partnerships webpage, and it's just really telling the story of who we are as a district and how we tend to carry our partnerships. So with that, I will, oh, I think it's still me, I do apologize. So with that, you saw a little bit on the video that we shared indicating some of our partners in the district. You heard some testimonials from some of our partners. And those testimonials were taken from our first ever partnership gathering. And during that gathering, we really wanted to give our partners, who we call now our co-educators, a glimpse on what it is that, or how it is that you become a partner through MMSD. So these bullets right here from start to finish, it's just very telling, and it really does, or it has helped our stakeholders when they're interested in partnering with us, really kind of understand and follow the steps and procedures of what it takes to partner with us from start to finish, where you submit a proposal, which goes directly to our partnerships department, to launching a partnership. So we wanted to make sure that this is very visible to all of our co-educators or anyone that is interested in partnering with MMSD. So with that, I will send this over to Cindy, and she will touch a little bit on our high intensity partnerships.
Thank you, Sonia. As Sonia mentioned, and as you know, as a board, we have a policy 7544 that really defines the different types of partnerships. One of the things that we have been really working on this year is trying to formalize all partnerships and trying to understand which partnerships may stay informal or go to more of contracted services. This is definitely a work in progress. But where we have real clarity on is the high intensity partnerships. And the high intensity partnerships that you see on this screen here, many of them have been multi-year partnerships. They come to the Board of Education for approval, and we are seeing high impact for these partnerships. Many of them have expanded their services over the years. And so I just want to highlight those partnerships that create system-wide impact and also have had positive results for our students. So first, we have Middle Schools of Hope, which is a long-standing partnership that has been in partnership with us in Urban League over 20 plus years. This year, they're serving close to 500 students. We have 203 students enrolled that have received at least 5 tutoring sessions or more. We're really focusing on dosage with Middle Schools of Hope and Urban League this year. Obviously, the more dosage students get, or the more time students receive services. We're also looking at them in terms of mentorship. They do a lot of supports outside of just tutoring. The next high intensity partnership is our People program in partnership with UW-Madison. This is one of our pre-college programs. Currently, we are serving 355 students. We've held over 6,000 tutorial days, and 100% of our seniors are accepted into at least one college. FACE, which is Fostering Awareness, Compassion, and Empathy Groups. This is social emotional wellness groups, and they are supported at our schools in collaboration with our student support staff. This year, we've served approximately 125 students, and we've provided over 25 groups for our students across 14 schools. You might recall BHS, which is in partnership with Children's Hospital Wisconsin and our student and staff supports. We now have expanded to 22 schools for this year. We're serving 310 students, and we've provided over 2,200 sessions for our students. This is really focused on mental health services for our students. It's now in elementary schools and in high schools. The last is our early college academies. This has expanded from just the early college STEM academy to other academies such as education, IT, bio, med. We are serving 197 students this year. On average, students are earning 15 college credits per semester. 15 college credits per semester. I just have to restate that. And the estimated cost savings annually for individual families is about $5,000. You might recall that we've shared that it's a multi-million cost savings for families overall, but an individual family is a cost savings of over $5,000 a year. So high impact with these high intensity partnerships, a place where the Board of Education has direct oversight and approval. Next slide, please. And so with that, we wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive into Avid Tops. Avid Tops is our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. Avid Tops has been with MMSD. I think we started in about 2012. We are now at all 4 of our comprehensive high schools. We have Avid at all 12 middle schools, a little different approach at Badger Rock. And 2 of those middle schools are directly supported through our partnership with Boys and Girls Club. What you will see on the screen is the impact over the 3 years. Our MOA spans from 2023 through the end of this school year. At the end of this year, you will receive an updated MOA for a continuation of this partnership as well as an evaluation. So this shows a little bit of the example of the impact that it has had in the last 3 years. So you see middle schools here, and you can see that the enrollment for all of our middle schools has gone up every year, and we're at about 604 students for our middle schools. You can see on average, we look at our GPA of a 3.0 or higher, and over the last 3 years for middle schools, we've increased, and we're at about 80% for our middle schools. It's important to note that this is all in progress because we're in the middle of the school year right now. Our average attendance, you can see, is at 93% right now, and so that continues to go up a little over the last few years. Could you go to high school, please? And so for high school, you can see that we have a couple different measures that we look at. Our enrollment is at 1,112 students that we're serving this year. So our enrollment has increased over the last 3 years. You can see that our cumulative GPA has also increased over the last few years. This year, 57% of those students right now, middle of the year to date, have 57% have a 3.0 or higher. And we don't have completion rates yet, but you will note that over the last 2 years, and this is pretty consistent over the last decade, that 99% of our students that are in Avid graduate on time in 4 years. Huge success here. In addition to that, you can see our attendance rate for our students that are in Avid at high school, and that has also increased this year. Right now, we're at 89%. And then we also look at how many students take 1 or more AP courses as part of our Avid program. And right now, to date, though we don't have end of year, we're at 87% of those students taking 1 or more AP course. And you can see over the last few years, it was 88 and 92%. This is one of our partnerships that we're really proud of, as well as many others, but the impact that this has on students and the impact that this has on our students post high school graduation has been pretty significant. So we're really proud and really grateful for this partnership and then the progress and the work it does for our students every day. Next slide, please. So Sonia alluded to this a little, and I'm going to go into more detail. So this year, first time ever, we had a partnership breakfast kickoff in October. We thought it was really important to bring all of our partners together into one space, one to build community, but also to be able to see who else partners with the district and learn a little bit about what the district was doing and also hear from our partners. Could you go to the next slide, please, Jesse? So on the next slide here, you can see a little bit about what our purpose of this breakfast was. It was to first talk about this idea of co-educators and talk about the collective impact that we can have on both our entire district community as well as our students. It was also for us to strengthen relationships and collaboration between our schools, our departments, and our community. We really want to use these spaces to align our partnership work with our priorities. We're working more intentionally to ensure that the partnerships that we cultivate in the district both support the needs and priorities we have and also help fill gaps we have. We wanted to share our vision. And one of the most important things, and what we heard mostly from our partners, was that this created a space for them to collaborate with each other, for them to learn who else partnered with the district, and to make their own connections. They really talked about wanting to understand if partners are doing like work, how they could continue to connect and ensure that we're not duplicating efforts, but instead we are prioritizing and streamlining efforts. We're going to have another partnership breakfast at the end of the year where we can share a little bit of the progress of MMSD excellence together and continue to hear from our partners in terms of what their needs are, and also partners that have capacity to take on more schools and more work. So we're really excited about the start of this work. Next slide, please, Jesse. And here's just an example. You heard in the video, you might have heard, there was a lot of background noise when they were interviewing a few people. That background noise was because they were in this space with over 200 other people at our partnership breakfast. But here shows some of the people that are partners with the district, some of the amazing people that put work in every day, and the diversity of the group of partners. We've been really intentional to ensure that we're looking for partners that make up our same student body so that we can focus on ensuring we're meeting our student needs. So I think this is just a beautiful picture that shows the partners that were in the space. This is not an exhaustive group of pictures. It's just a glimpse into that partnership breakfast. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sonia, and Sonia is going to talk about some really exciting things, which is new partnerships that we've cultivated this year, and you have a few of them at the table with you. So I'll turn it back to Sonia.
Thank you, Cindy. So again, just kind of wanted to share a quick glimpse of some of the great partnerships that we have aligned this year thus far, and even some of the partnerships that are existing partnerships, but we are shifting a little bit and doing the collaboration of those partnerships. As you can see there, AU volleyball has been a great addition to this in allowing us to provide a space for our scholars, particularly our female scholars, where they can go and see other athletes and participate in that, and also tie in literacy. Centro Hispano, again, longtime partner of MMSD. We are shifting the way in which we partner with them. They will continue doing the work that they've always continued, but now we have this shared position within our family, youth, and community engagement here with our director, and also with the new hire at Centro Hispano. So lots of great things to come with that partnership. Climb USA is, of course, a new partnership. I'll speak a little bit more about that at the next slide. Drum Power, again, we are an existing partnership. We're shifting the focus on that a little bit and allowing access to some of our scholars who are not able to have it during the school day, whereas they can now be able to engage with Drum Power after school at our local community centers. Exact Sciences, of course, as you can see, again, to strengthen our pathways for our middle school and high school students. Go ahead, Jesse. And then a continuation of this, of course, Freedom Schools, brand new partnership from last year. We are going into our second year expansion at Lori Mancari Elementary School. Looking forward to that this summer. Healing Circles is a new partnership that we cultivated at Wright Middle School that supports students with well-being and really bringing our students together to just be in spaces where they can connect with each other and just be in community with each other. Improve Your Tomorrow, of course, a new partnership again that is currently at Capitol High School and also at La Follette. Hoping to
Say
And
no.
then, I'm not gonna go there. And then, of course, you saw a little glimpse on the Willow Brown Aviation Academy, which was also a big hit. It was featured on Channel 15 News, where our scholars from Gillespie and also from Sherman had an intentional one-on-one with pilots and really got the lay of a land of airplanes. So really looking forward to that. And then, of course, UW Athletics, second year into the partnership, really a strong tie to literacy and making sure that our scholars are able to engage with our athletes from UW-Madison and to also feel like they belong in our campus and are part of the community. So spoke a little bit about Climb USA. Climb USA, which is spearheaded by Bob right there. It was both piloted at Gillespie and also at Sherman Middle School. On this particular day, I was able to be present for a phenomenal presentation by these 4 individual scholars who really make you feel like you need to do more with your finances. Literally. The tools that they are learning to really be intentional about their future, about their career choices, about their classes, even taking classes in high school. Climb is able to really provide them this opportunity to just leverage financial resources and to really understand what money does for you, even at a very young age. So we're really, really excited to bring Climb into our district partnerships, and we are looking forward to next year and expanding this program to other middle schools. We still get a lot of questions about, what are some of the areas of need to strengthen our impactful partnerships and other opportunities. We're not shy about this. I have these conversations almost every day with a lot of stakeholders and organizations when they give us a call. But we want to make sure that we continue to advance equity within our partnerships. We want to make sure that we continue to expand literacy. That again is at the top of, I like to say the leaderboard, but literacy and mentoring and high impact tutoring is our big focus at this moment. Making sure that we are strengthening our basic needs access. We have a fantastic partnership with the Diaper Bank of Madison. And though it may seem small, it's a huge partnership that supports our families who are in need of diapers. And this partnership is through all of our MMSD schools, but with a strong focus on our community schools. So those are some of the basic needs that we see are arising within our families. And of course, just in making sure that we are enhancing and increasing our arts initiative and allowing our students to participate in extracurricular activities that really center them and their needs and their passion. And I will let Cindy talk a little bit about the transition of where we are now with our tutoring initiatives.
Thank you again, Sonia. Just a couple things I'll add on that previous slide is we're really working on a gap analysis in order to be able to be more clear with partners. We've heard from many partners that they have more capacity and would like to support our schools further. And so we want to be able to guide them to both what the content areas are needed and which schools need those supports. So part of our work this year is continuing to get crystal clear on the needs and where we can align our priorities. And with that, we have a transition that has happened with a partnership that has been in place for over 28 years. So we have worked really closely with United Way of Dane County to provide elementary schools of hope and achievement connections through AmeriCorps funding and with AmeriCorps members. Due to things outside of our control, this is sunsetting at the end of this school year. We're really proud of the work that we have been able to do together and also really looking forward to what the future looks like. They have been able to provide literacy support at the elementary levels, and then they've been able to provide literacy and math support at the high school levels. So what we are going to do is our future opportunity, and this is just one of those future opportunities, and others will come with other partners, is we're continuing to partner with the Mortgage Center for Public Service. They were one of the partners with Elementary Schools of Hope and Achievement Connections. They have stepped up and they want to continue to figure out ways for us to provide tutoring services to our schools. So they are going to be working with and mobilizing UW-Madison student volunteers to support literacy tutoring, and at the secondary level, tutoring and potentially mentoring support. We're going to focus on high dosage tutoring with literacy and, as I just said, the mentoring. We're going to start with a subset of our schools, both at the elementary level and high school with them. And we're going to continue to ensure in our training with the tutors that we are focused on the science of reading, as well as the work that is happening in our literacy department led by Becky Kunder. So it is a shift, but it is not a discontinuation of literacy tutoring. It's a shift, and we're really grateful for the Mortgage Center for Public Health to continue to step up and want to serve our schools and work with us to figure out our new approach in transition of Elementary Schools of Hope and Achievement Connections. And really grateful for United Way for all of their support also. Next slide, please. So what does this look like for strategic partnerships moving forward? You might recall that we have Focus Area 5 in our new strategic plan, MMSD Excellence Together. And within that plan, we have identified 2 KPIs that are going to continue to help all of the things we just talked about tonight. So the first is our primary KPI is focusing on the number of active community and industry partnerships. You might recall Sonia at the beginning said, did you know we have 250 plus partners? We're going to continue to use this KPI to make sure that that is the accurate number, and how many more partnerships are we able to grow over the next 5 years. We also want to focus on impact. It's great to have partners, and we're grateful for the community to step up, but we want to ensure that we have collective goals and that goals have impact on our schools, our community, and our students. So the supplemental KPI is going to start to measure the number and percent of our formal partnerships that have actually met their end of year goals. This is going to be really important for us because it's going to help us be very strategic about partnerships that continue and where there might be needs for partnerships to sunset if we aren't meeting our goals or having impact. We are going to continue to cultivate new partnerships. We are really proud of all those that we were able to bring into the district this year, and we want to continue to grow that list. Sonia mentioned this a little, but we're working to have a public-facing dashboard. We want to have a database that shows who all of our partners are and where those partners are located, so that anyone interested in partnering with the district can see the areas that are already being addressed and where there might be a need. We're really excited about this and cannot wait to get it launched. We're going to continue to just create partnership collaboration opportunities. We know that partnerships and community-based relations are critical to our district being successful, so we're excited about that. And we're going to continue to do this gap analysis so we can get really clear on where the need is and needs that we cannot fill as a district ourselves, and where we need to ask our community to step up. This is a little bit about what the work is looking like as we go into next year. Before I turn it over to Chair Muldrow to engage in a discussion, I just want to remind the board that we do have some amazing folks at the table with us. So a principal that can talk through the impact of partnerships from her perspective, Caitlin that leads our work with UW Athletics or Wisconsin Athletics and that work, and then Corby and others that lead the work around Improve Your Tomorrow that currently is at La Follette and Capital, that focuses on mentorship and also focuses on supporting students as they move towards post-high school life. So with that, Chair Muldrow, I will turn it back to you for discussion.
Thank you so much, Cindy Green. Board members, we now have time to ask questions. And I see Board Member Vandermeulen.
Yes, one, I'd like learning on the partnership, especially the one on aeronautics. I found that absolutely fascinating. I know the individual who runs it. He's also one of the Boy Scout leaders on the east side and does quite a bit of work with students of all different areas of interest. So I think that's really a good one. Number two, the only thing I would add to this would be just to make sure our older mid-level partnerships are still protected and mentioned, things like Simpson Street, things like 100 Black Men, because we do such great work with them. And the one that I like that is the newest is Roots to Rise, because I really think that it's been doing some great work at La Follette. But otherwise, I'm just liking the presentation, so thank you. That's all, Chair.
Thank you so much, Board Member Vandermeulen. Cindy, I think you wanted to respond.
I just want to make a comment that I really appreciate you naming longstanding partnerships. And if that was not clear to everyone listening, also, we are so grateful for many of those longstanding partnerships. So thank you, Board Member Vandermeulen, for naming that.
I appreciate it.
Board Member Zarravo.
Thank you, Chair. I'm surprised there wasn't a whole bunch of hands up here. Appreciate everyone coming. I was actually wondering, just because we didn't get to hear from everyone over there, can I ask if we had anything that we wanted to share? I'm not even sure what questions to ask because I really didn't get to explore extra people in the room.
Yeah, so we can
do that?
kick it off if that's okay.
I
Yep, so we are Improve Your Tomorrow Wisconsin. I'm Corby White. I'm the executive director for Improve Your Tomorrow Wisconsin, and joining me is our amazing program director, Aaron Broadwater. And Improve Your Tomorrow first launched in Wisconsin October 13th of 2025. So we've only been here a short time. Impact has been absolutely incredible. A lot of you were at the showcase that we did March 11th to see us in action. And what we're a mentoring firm. And that sounds so generic, right? Just all you do is mentor. The secret sauce with Improve Your Tomorrow, it's a 12-year mentoring program. So we catch young men of color. We're targeting young men of color especially, but we don't exclude or discriminate against anyone who wants to join the Brotherhood. In fact, we have members who identify as others as part of the Brotherhood.
At every site.
At every site. And it's a 12-year mentoring program that catches these young men when they're in middle school, through high school, and we mentor them through college and provide them a career pathway even after they graduate from college. But before we even dive into that, it's so ironic and coincidental that today, April 6th, is the 13-year anniversary of Improve Your Tomorrow, and we're here at MMSD talking about it. So it was founded by two young brothers in Sacramento, California. And so that makes you go, how did you end up in Wisconsin, right? Ruben Anthony, this is how everything comes full circle. Ruben Anthony contacted me in 2024 and he said, I want you to meet this CEO. Michael Lynch is his name, of Improve Your Tomorrow. I said, why do you want me to meet him? He wants you to do a landscape analysis of Black and brown students in the state of Wisconsin and what the educational system looks like for them. So it took me about a month and a half to put this presentation together. I was floored gathering the information. Our Black 8th graders ranked dead last in the nation in reading and math proficiency. This was back in 2024 when I'm pulling this information. Our Black and brown students, the second highest out-of-school suspension rate in the nation, second next to New Jersey. And then our Black students have the largest graduation gap in the nation between us and white students. And those are just three statistics that stuck out for me. There was a ton that I presented. And Michael Lynch looked at me with his jaw on the floor. He said, what can we do to help? How do we get into Wisconsin? And from there, I said, okay, let me use the network of people that I know who are doing amazing work to see because what Sonia just presented of how to become a school partner wasn't established yet. So I'm like, what do we do? And so I'm the vice president of the 100 Black Men of Madison. And one of the members of the 100 Black Men of Madison is sitting right here, Brother Joe Gothard. This is how small this world is. Talking to Brother Gothard about improvement tomorrow. Do you know Michael Lynch? Like, yeah, how do you know Michael Lynch? He met him when he was superintendent in Minneapolis. He knew about Improve Your Tomorrow through his meeting with Michael Lynch back then. So he knew all about the organization. And I'm thinking, how can I present this to MMSD to see if there's a need here? So several of you in this room, Carletra was there, TJ was there, a bunch of you. Michael Lynch flew in from California and presented what Improve Your Tomorrow does, the 100% graduation rate outcome of brothers who participate in the program, the near 80% rate of brothers who participate in the program go on to college and graduate, and then the mission and vision, the mission of increasing the number of young men of color who attend and graduate from colleges and universities. And then the vision, we envision a world where we're overrepresented in colleges and universities and underrepresented in the prison pipeline. And from there, you know, we met with your leadership, district leadership, and they said, yeah, let's give Improve Your Tomorrow a try. We wanted to be at the schools at MMSD that you guys see the need for us the most. That's how we ended up at Capitol. To me is the most amazing. I've talked to Brother Gotham several times about how amazing Capitol is. The brothers there are just incredible. And La Follette, brothers there are incredible. Our 9th graders to need some work on.
That help. The mentorship is very much needed.
Very much needed. Yep. And so we gave it a try. We launched October 13th. 2 weeks ahead of that, Aaron and I did our brotherhood recruitment event where we pulled the brothers that were suggested to participate in the program, got them all in one room. We told them our stories, where we're from. You know, I'm from Watts, California. Aaron's from Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We told them our stories. You could hear a pin drop in that room, but it was their stories that made the connection. One of the brothers in the room, I'll never forget, I tell this story all the time, but it's so true. We asked the question, do you see yourself going to college? This one brother looked at me and he said, no. And I said, why? He said, because I'm too stupid. With a straight look on his face. There was no joking, no nothing. And I said, why do you think that? He said, my family's told me that. Teachers have told me that. Society has told me that. My friends told me that. I'm just too stupid. I said, by the time we get done with you, you're not only going to go to college, but you're going to graduate. You're going to have a career path after that. And Aaron has told me that brother hasn't missed a single workshop since we launched October 13th.
Probably our most committed.
That's incredible.
Absolutely.
Now, in this program, we do expect a lot from our brothers. You know, we expect them to be punctual. We expect them to be engaging.
No cursing.
No cursing.
Which is a struggle for this generation.
No pants sagging. None of that. You know, we expect them to be courteous to staff. That's us and the staff at the sites.
Yeah.
But most importantly, we expect them to graduate. We expect them to go on to a college or university or some career path after that. Improve Your Tomorrow is serving 7,500 brothers in 6 different states. We're in California, we're in Minnesota, we're in Wisconsin, we're in Maryland, we're in Mississippi, we're in Nevada. So it's 7,500 brothers total that are in this program. Aaron's getting ready to do something. I'll let him talk about it. That's monumental and never been done in the state where we're taking our brothers somewhere, the college tour.
Oh, yeah,
We should talk
absolutely.
about that a little bit later.
So,
The last thing I want to wrap up with is March 11th was our showcase. TJ, you were there. Carletra, you were there, Brother Gothard, where you got a chance to see the mentoring in action, our workshop in action. And I thought that it was amazing. You know, just seeing them engage with each other,
absolutely.
you, with adults, because the first time we met with them, they didn't want to talk at all.
Yeah.
There were maybe 2 out of the 25 brothers who want to talk. You can't get them to shut up. They are so confident and empowered. And to hear Drayden speak the way he spoke at that workshop.
He never said a word.
And
now he's speaking more than anybody else in the class.
It's just incredible. It's incredible. Last Thursday, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm sorry, TJ. We had our brotherhood induction event at the Verona Area High School. And it was incredible, TJ. These brothers were simply amazing. We got a chance to present IYT in front of their parents. So we had parent engagement and
Staff as well.
staff as well. It was just incredible. The last thing I want to wrap up with deals with partnerships. So the belief in our programming based on the workshops and what they've seen from the showcase, Governor Evers has endorsed us. And Improve Your Tomorrow, Wisconsin, is one of the recipients of the Violence Prevention Grant.
That's awesome.
Secondly, American Family, Brother Dylan Blanks has seen us in action. American Family has signed on as one of our partners for the next 3 years. Epic Health Systems, Judy sent someone out to Verona. They saw us in action. Epic Health Systems is now one of our partners. The partner, I'm proud of all of them. I love them all. I'm so thankful and blessed. We're so thankful and blessed that we have such strong, amazing partners. Madison College, I want to talk about them for 1 second, is one of our partners. They are signing a guaranteed admission program for any brother who graduates from Improve Your Tomorrow has guaranteed admission rights to Madison College. Now, one might think Madison College is 100% acceptance organization. They have several programs that are not 100% accepting. And they're saying Dr. Jennifer Byrne, who is also at the showcase, any brother who graduates from our program will have guaranteed admission to Madison College. Fresh off the press, last Wednesday, Madison College is signing direct transfer agreements with HBCUs. Yes, yes.
That is a big draw for a lot of our Black and brown youth to
Wow.
get to want to even go to college. It's amazing.
When I mentioned this to the brothers at Verona, you should have seen their eyes light up.
Man, I can go first. I can go to college. Then it was wait. I can actually go out of state. It changed a lot of their perspective.
HBCU
Yeah.
to watch this, to join the most amazing fraternity known to man. So anyway,
This guy.
but yeah, I gotta mess with you. Yeah, we got history. So Improve Your Tomorrow has in a short amount of time made a major impact in 2 school districts. And if you notice, Milwaukee Public Schools was at the showcase. Nathaniel Deans wants us in Milwaukee this fall. And I brought up those partners because we're gonna be increasing staff. And with that, we need money to increase staff. And thankfully, we have some of the most amazing partners behind us to help us do that. Now I'll turn it over to Aaron to talk specifically about
The
what
program.
he's seeing at Capitol when we're filing
Absolutely.
in. TJ, let you.
Just a little bit, I promise. So I would say, first off, I'm the associate program director. So basically I'm in charge of all expansion. So one thing that we want to make sure is the culture that we have that allowed us to do so well at Capitol and at La Follette. We want to replicate that at every other site. So it makes sense that you would send the person that started it at Capitol and La Follette to any other area that we went to. So the thing I can say is our transition, although we are in Verona, Madison was the focal point at the very beginning, that we took a lot of what we're doing here. We're taking that to every other location we go to, whether that's Milwaukee, whether it's any other place that we have coming up. We're starting with what we gained here, which is amazing, right? But the biggest things I would say I noticed with starting programming at each of these sites, the 3 major things that have been very, very impactful would be, number one, I would say scholarly identity development. Many of these students never seen themselves as scholars. And many of them in conversations in our mentorship sessions never even thought about college because they never saw themselves as smart or as a scholar at all. So that's the one thing I've noticed in the 1 semester of being at each of those sites is that they're starting to see themselves doing work. They're bringing up grades that they never talked about before to us and their teachers.
Say something real quick. One thing I left out that Aaron is speaking to, we are specifically targeting students who have GPAs of 2.0 or lower. You know, we're all part of mentoring programs and most of them tend to target students that are already
3.0s and higher, absolutely.
We're targeting the kids who they say themselves are forgotten.
And those 3, I would say the 3 major things are behavior, attendance, and academics. So many of our students have an issue in one of those categories, if not all. So the goal is to change those things. So just to give you a clear understanding, IYT has a 3-year plan. And in that plan, the first year is to help build up rapport. This generation, they're not gonna hear anything you're talking about unless they feel like they have an authentic connection with you. And IYT has figured out that that's the way to get in to this generation, and it's working. And then outside of that, the second year is when you start seeing a change in behavior and attendance. Third year is when you see a big leap in academics. So as you can imagine, it's a process, right? We would love for it to change immediately, and we have with certain students, but I would say in IYT Wisconsin, like we've been told by our founders, they've actually seen a lot of this growth within a semester of us being here already. So it's been very, very amazing. But outside of that, I would say accountability. And then lastly, I would say a brotherhood. Many of the students, unfortunately, are followers in this generation. They tend to follow the trends on TikTok and the people at school. And I think the brotherhood and building up that environment with other like-minded individuals, that has been the game changer. Getting them to hold each other accountable and not just us. I've started to see after this first semester, and even at Verona, when we just started this semester, their principal and the superintendent there, Dr. Clarity, he started to see them hold each other accountable in real time. So I would say all in all, the biggest things that we focus on would be mentorship first, that's the foundation, leadership development, college and career preparation. Those are the foundations of everything we do. And we do that through our workshops, college tours, mentorship sessions, where we have 2 of those a month with every student on our caseload. And we contact those parents twice a month as well. So they hear a lot about us and they talk to us a lot. But I would end with this. I would say the biggest thing that I've noticed at a couple of our sites, Capital Principal Victor, he told me, and that's where we had our showcase. He said, Aaron, what you doing is phenomenal. He said the biggest thing that he noticed, some of the students in our class, a handful, he never heard them talk. And they've been at that school for 2 to 3 years. And me, I'm not knowing this. I just came here. How could I know? Right. So I'm just like, really? I'm like, they never engaged. He said they never engaged in class. They never really talked to me. He was like, for the first time when I came into your session, I'm seeing them engage and you getting them to engage. I don't know how, but we need you to keep doing it. So that was a big eye opener for me. That what that showed me was we built a safe space, and simply put, now students are able to open up about why they're struggling. Sometimes we just see the tardies, we just see the anger, the irritation. We built a rapport enough with them to let me know. Now I realize for some of them, it's comprehension. Many of them have told me verbatim. It took a while. I'm not gonna say it happened the first day, but during that first semester, they told me they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So why would I keep coming to school and pay attention? If I'm so far behind, I can't see how to get over that hill or get over that hump. So for me, this is hard work for me and Corby. And we talk y'all ears off enough, but I just want y'all to know we really care about this program, love it. And seeing the slides with all the other things Madison is doing is just really, warms my heart, man. So I just thank y'all for giving us the time to talk.
Thank you.
And yeah, we appreciate the partnership, everybody. Thank you.
April 29th, we're taking the brothers on the college
Yes.
tour. So a lot of them will have their first exposure to college as we take them to Madison College. And Madison College President, Dr. Byrne, said she's clearing her schedule to ensure she can greet and talk to each brother individually. And then on May 22nd,
Edgewood College.
Edgewood.
Yes, indeed.
University.
Oh, University. Ooh, hey,
University.
don't tell them you said that. Nice. That's pretty much it though. But if you got any more questions, we talkers.
No, I'm glad. I kind of wanted to open up a little bit because I think that we kind of we got to know the name of it earlier this year, but that's a very holistic dive into there, and the work that you guys are doing. Really respect all that. That's
Thank you so
a
much.
broad scope of things that can come out of such an intentional purpose there.
Absolutely.
Hope that maybe see it in action one day too. You guys are
Absolutely.
brand new.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. I love the whole concept and that it's something that is modeled, from places where it's making a really good impact and that we're able to in as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys for bringing this here
Thank you.
and for giving us a great presentation on it too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Man, I don't know where to go from there. I kind of want to take myself down for a minute. I'm going to soak some of that in. I can let someone else have a little bit more time and I'll jump back in, but thank you. That was great.
Board Member Vandermillion, you started your comments at 5:41 and ended at 5:42. Board Member Saravo, you started at 5:43 and ended at 6:01. And we will now hear from, I'm sorry, Board Member Mosner Theltham and Board Member Pearson. I don't know which of you is up first.
I don't know either.
I'm gonna call on you, Board Member Mosner Theltham.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of points. I'm gonna work through them. I'm gonna start with compliments. So when I talk to people about partnerships or like, oh, you should get involved, they're like, well, Sonia's amazing. Like, so I really like your reputation and your work is really is heard in rooms that you're not in. And I wanted to give you that compliment. And IYT too, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and for your work with our students. It's super duper exciting. And I want to I guess affirm what Cindy said about how essential it is that we have strong partnerships as we're building for the future. Like I see it, I believe it, I want it, I can't wait for it, like I'm here for it. And I have some questions. They're like kind of like nitty gritty. So I apologize because you were talking so beautifully about all the big picture stuff. And I'm like, well, what's the difference between a partner and a contractor? So when we think about, I'm just trying to like get my head around how we tell the difference between something that's, I think that you brought it up, like a contracted service versus a partner, because many of our partners we do have contracts for, and we do pay financially for services. So is that something that you're exploring? Is it settled? Is it kind of up in the air?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
We with the way that in which we process the survey, we really wanted to get a gauge on what partnerships are, right? And what those contracted services are. So this is still a work in progress. We do have contracted services and we do have partnerships. The way in which we would categorize a partnership is that collaboration that provides an outcome for our students, right? And it does not necessarily need to be tied to it doesn't necessarily need to have funding tied to it, right? But it is a partnership that would bring an intentional outcome to our students, our district, or our families, whomever we are working with. So it is, and one of the great things about this, and thinking back, last slide talked a little bit about our KPIs. We are really going to be grounded in that to make sure that what we currently have and the partnerships that live within our depository system or within our Excel forms, that we are telling that one story, right? So, and the other piece could be that this could be one of the areas in which we are leveraging on our webpage so that stakeholders and intended partners really understand where they fit in and what they would be if they would partner with MMSD. So it's a little bit of both in what you just indicated.
That's helpful, clarification of everything. Thank you. About partnership logistics and partnership timing. So for example, you said we have brothers in our class. Is that during the school day? I know that, for example, the AVID elective is during the school day. I'm curious about the decision making for that, like how you decide when a partnership is gonna provide academic credit and be scheduled happening as a club or an after school something. How does that decision get made?
Yeah, sure. I can chime in and maybe Cindy can even elaborate. So when we are strategizing with the partner and finding a way in which we feel this opportunity is really going to speak to that school site, we're working closely with the principals at the school sites and really indicate and working with them and really trying to figure out what's going to be the best time of the day for our partners to come into the building to access our facility, right? We're also thinking about what other opportunities that they're not receiving during the day that would fit during after school or whatever time it could be. So we are really making sure that we're also connecting with the department owners or department managers of this of our partnerships. So I would say that YIT it's managed by our CTE department. So they are the ones who are working closely with IIT to think about next steps and even thinking about, time of the day in which the partnership is administered into the school site. Cindy, did you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, I'll just add a tiny bit. I just want to add one more piece, Board Member Moser-Feltham, to your first question. Contracts are usually legal obligations, whereas partnerships are mutual goals and mutual reciprocal relationship. And so the MOA helps us establish these common goals, these mutual goals, which gets into your question. Most often it is based on either a need that we need someone to fill, and we've identified that that need is during the school day, or that need is after school, or that need is both. And it also is based on the services that the partner is bringing to the table. And the services that the partner is bringing to the table may only be possible during one of those times or both of those times. I'll use UW Athletics that's sitting at the table right now. We work really closely with them, and we have worked to ensure that both their services are happening during our literacy block, because their focus is literacy, and the student athletes have a specific time that works within their schedule, which happens to work for the literacy block. So this relationship and this kind of reciprocal relationship and mutual set of goals and accountability is so important, which really then helps create this partnership versus just a contract that sometimes could be one way. So that kind of does a little bit of both of your first question and your second question.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so glad I'm asking these questions because your answers are very clarifying for me. My next question is about folks who are serving students as partners and folks who are serving students as MMSD employees. And do you find that there are ways that make that partnership work? And I'm thinking about like examples I've had where I have a student who's in a non-MMSD program, supporting their learning, supporting their curiosity, supporting their development. And I am over here as an MMS, this is back when, a school employee trying to do the same thing. And then we don't have any way of touching it. Obviously, children are involved in lots of different things. Like nobody's calling me from a kid's church to say, hey, I have a question about this, but it's a little bit different when the partnership is through this school. So I'm curious about what we know about how to make sure that all of the adults who can be supporting a student through an MMSD partnership or through MMSD are doing so. Maybe you want to start if you're experiencing that in your program now.
Say in the
Board member, sorry, I was just gonna ask, we have a principal in the space and she has to navigate that often. And so I was wondering if it's possible that we could have Lori start of how she navigates that from a principal perspective and multiple partnerships, and then jump, I think one of our members from IYT was going to. But Lori, I don't know if you'd like to take that first.
You can go first. I can go after you.
No, I think Ms. Green is.
That's what I got to.
Totally happy to answer the question. I think that piece is complex, right? I think the part that has been easier is the setting up of the partnership and setting the foundation for the partnership, because we have a lot of support through Sonia or community school resource coordinator to help set it up. But I think where you have to be intentional is making sure that those engaging in the partnership are touching base with our classroom teachers, because they're the closest point to the kids. Particularly in an elementary school, they're with them all day. And so if we are going to engage in a partnership, it's really important that you are communicating clearly with the classroom teacher. And sometimes that looks like it could be somebody else, right? It could be I'm working with the partnership and then I'm communicating that down to teachers. It could look like the community school resource coordinator working with the partnership and then they're working with, so I just think that's a piece that you do have to be mindful of, because we're working together and we want to be able to communicate with the partner, hey, this is what's going on with the kiddo.
you know, and how can we then support your work in the classroom and vice versa. And I think if you don't do that, I do think you don't see as great of outcomes. And so I think it's just knowing that complexity exists and then being very intentional about where to provide space for that gap to be closed.
And as you think, I'm thinking about my own students, some of whom will talk to me and not their actual advisor.
Yeah.
Versus students who are on my roster as my advisors, but are just like, I don't know you.
Yeah, yeah.
Talk to the other, so yeah.
I also think it's
Complexity there.
good communication, like who's working with who, because you're right, there are so many different things happening like throughout the school day. And I think if we work together as a team and we know a certain student is working with someone, we'll reach out to them, they'll reach out to us, and we're like working together. But I think for us, it's like a lot through our student services team, a lot through our community school resource, like coordinator, just like making sure like all those dots are connected.
There's the work.
Yep, that's the work, yeah.
So I think you going first was definitely great. Thank you. You really broke that down really well. That's essentially what we do. Going into each school, first things first is establishing a channel of communication and collaboration. I understand that IYT would not be as successful without the partnership with the teachers and the staff members at each school. So what we've developed is a success team that we have at each school. And so typically that includes a principal, that includes individuals that might have a certain position that ties them to teachers and makes it easier for us to communicate. So we'll have a liaison. But we also have a success team sheet that we provide to each of our schools where we actually have all of the teachers and counselors have access, we have access, and they literally for every one of our students highlight missing assignments, they highlight any celebrations that we should know from their classrooms, and any upcoming summative so we know what to direct them to in our IYT study halls. So I would say the meetings are constant, so just so that we're all on the same page. And then the success team meetings, when we engage with the teachers, counselors, and the principal, we're doing that on a regular basis to make sure that we are double dipping when we need to be and not overly doing it when we don't need to. So I would say that's the number one thing is the connection and collaboration. And we do that at every one of our schools.
I just wanted to quickly add to that. Aaron said it perfectly. So the principal, before we go into a site, there are so many meetings that take place with site leadership and district level leadership. And then even after we enter a site, we're meeting once a week at least with site level leadership and once a quarter with district level leadership. But we always have our doors open in case something happens. Principal Thompson at LaFollette contacts us all the time. Principal Vic is texting or calling. Dr. Clarity is once a week. We'll talk about IYT stuff. So we're always in constant communication.
And kind of like what you said about some students feeling more comfortable to talk to you versus somebody that might be their direct advisor. They recently called us into a meeting with a student that wasn't seeming to have a good day and was having an issue with everybody else, but his relationship with us allowed us to go into that meeting. Had nothing to do with IYT, but it allowed us to help and kind of lessen the blow of that situation and relax it. So that's pretty much how open that communication is.
I was gonna jump in and provide a different perspective if that's okay. So Caitlin Quell and I work at Wisconsin Athletics. We have a very different program in terms of we come in every Monday and read, but our student athletes change every Monday. And so we are official adopted school partners of the 8 community schools, which is really exciting. Our rapport is built in the 20 seconds beforehand. We do have that celebrity status, which helps. A lot of times the second graders are just excited to be an athlete. But I wanted to point out something that I think is working really well with your team, especially, is that we will get communication beforehand if there's a special need in the term that we can accommodate. So I know 2 examples that stick out. We had a wonderful conversation with Sarita, who's great at giving us a heads up, saying that there was a group of boys who were really struggling academically, but they loved soccer. And so if there's any way we could send some soccer student athletes, that would really connect with them. And that was an easy layup for everyone involved because it brought joy to reading to a group of children that weren't into it. I think another example is when we can, we've been asked to bring Spanish speaking student athletes, which also then alleviates that barrier of the language, as well as making it really cool that they play a sport and they speak the same language. And so when we're able to do that, just another example where we don't get to build the rapport as deeply as other partners do, but because of the connection with you and your team, we're able to bridge that gap when we can too.
I think that does it for my questions. I really appreciate the clarity that you all brought. For me, I'll just reiterate, I'm so excited about this. I had a community partner in my classroom today talking about city planning. I can't really talk in depth about city planning, but he could. And so I've seen it, I've seen the benefit. I've also seen where we try to make it too mechanical and then it falls apart because we're talking about humans. And so my own questions are like, but how do we make it work for sure 100% of the time perfectly? And you all said, well, these are human children, so come on now. And I appreciate the heart that you all bring and the effort and the work that you're doing with students. And I really look forward to seeing this stuff grow. In your presentation, the steps forward and the next steps really help clarify for me to see where you're going, and I look forward to seeing it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Board Member Mosher-Feltham. You started at 6:02. It is now 6:16, and we will hear from Board Vice President Pearson.
Hey y'all, thank y'all for the presentation. It's always really good to see folks out in the community and especially Sonia at all of the events. So thank you for the presentation. I did have a question just for IYT since they are in the room. Hi y'all. Sorry I couldn't be there with y'all. Hey. My first question, and maybe this is a general question as well, for district staff. When we have a program such as this that are targeting students who may have lower proficiencies in some of the targeted areas like reading and math, and may have grades that or credit obtainment that may be below of what we want students to have each year. How does programs like that work in relationship? And this is close to Blair's question. Work with relationship with like credit recovery, in relationship with some of the other targeted strategies and targeted programming that we may offer. And the second part of that is just if there are like Avid has the credit class, say a student has multiple of those, how does that work in terms of ensuring that the student then has enough credits to graduate based off of like our basic, what are the general graduation credits that are needed for the program?
Thank you, Board Member Pearson. I'll start just generally, but I'll turn it over to allow IYT to give specifics. I would say that's why partnership, and that word partnership, is so critically important. The ongoing communication and supports that partners in our schools, along with school staff, working together to determine the students in this particular scenario, the example you gave, their graduation plan is essential. And so I know I heard Corby mentioned this idea of like SST teams and other groups that they check in with every day. But I think that's why this idea of partnership and having mutual goals and mutual and reciprocal accountability is so important in order to ensure we're all working towards the student's graduation plan. But I'll let the team see if they want to give a specific example.
Yeah. So at the site level, I can start off. At the site level, what we do is we're basically glorified accountability partners, right? And work as a liaison between parents and the teachers. So our goal is in every one of our IYT sessions, and we have at minimum 2 IYT study hall sessions. At most, we have about three or four, and then we also open up our after school for students that are able to be there to come. In those sessions, we're required to have students come in and finish at least one assignment and have one class that's primarily on their list, their lowest performing class that we work on. In that point, this is coming from IYT headquarters, so every program and site has to do the same thing. Our goal is to have them completed and shared with us. And that's why we kind of go above and beyond. We actually don't have to have a success team sheet that all the teachers are tied to, but we do that to help us understand what should be the main focus to increase their grades. So that's something that's low hanging fruit that we do that matches our IYT national standard. But we also are in the process of working on a way to make IYT class a pass or fail that does offer credit. So that's something that we're already in the works working with Dr. Edwards, our program director at the highest level, figuring out what that can look like. But as of right now, we do fit into their schedule. It's in a credit class as of yet, but that is something, especially as our 9th and 10th graders get to their junior year, it would probably be beneficial for us to have this be a credit class so that they can be able to get that. But outside of that, tutoring, we work with each of the schools and we're having some of their high performing seniors and even juniors come in and support with tutoring sessions during our IYT study halls to help with those grades. And then we also have college advising. That's one of our 6 major programming items that we do. So in California, they call it the AG requirements, but it's different here. It's basically just making sure that they're reaching every one of their requirements to graduate high school and also eligible to school. We have to keep track of that in our monthly meetings. So we always track how they're doing when it comes to their core classes, how many credits do they still need to complete in order to make sure that they're on track to graduate. And this is all information that we track in our Salesforce documentation. So it's a little bit of everything, but I would say the biggest thing is college advising, and we track that and we work with the counselors at their school for that particular student to make sure that they're reaching their goals in every one of those requirements. I hope that answered our comment.
Yeah, I mean, that answered my question. I think one of the things is that it's good that we're having partnerships kind of help intervene and support students and their families, especially around just around their academics. My hope is that we have more partnerships that aren't just focused on college per se, but just for post-secondary plans, just in general. Just because we have a large group of students that do not go to college and may be doing other great, amazing things within the community. So no, it's just really great to hear that. And then my last question is just around about the financial needs. I know that we funded, I think 113,000 last year as like a, let me bring the contract back up. Or not the contract, the partnership. And just bear with me. I think it was MMSD. We made an investment of $113,625 last year. And so my question just is around like financial needs, continued financial needs. I know this was like over time. And, you know, if we see any barriers or as we are going into tight financial positions, if other organizations or partnerships, you know, looking at just the finances as we are the Board of Education making those decisions and what investments are still needed.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Vice President Pearson. 2 things that I would say. One is the moving forward slide that I talked about and being really intentional about partnerships and partnerships that are having impact and which continue and which don't. I think gets to how we use our dollars and where our dollars as a district are going to be continue to invest in is one. The second is I think it was Aaron or Corby mentioned that they received the DOA grant from the violence prevention. And that was really a great example of opportunities where organizations work with us and we partner and we think about where dollars could be used. I remember sending it to Corby and Michael saying, you need to apply, and we wrote a letter of support. And so I think there's ways where as partnerships are continuing to be cultivated and expanded, partnership dollars that are seeked out together. The UW Psych grant is another one. So I think that is another example of how we look for funding together when the partnership is strong and there's mutual goals. And then some of the other partnerships have different efforts, but I think that's what we're continuing to try and think about as a system with our new database, with our new KPIs, with our new plan is really making sure we're looking at that and then where investments may be needed or where priorities come to the board for us. I don't know, I did want to make sure, if you're done, when you're done with your questions, Board Member Pearson, I wanted to allow Caitlin Quinlan again a chance to chime in. I know we've heard from IYT, but at some point I just want her to be able to share a little more about the connections to the questions and what it means for Wisconsin athletics when appropriate. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with my questions. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I think we all have to think about too, as we're moving into tight budget constraints, is, you know, how we are ensuring and evaluating our investments and what the return on investments are, and how partnerships can help support that. But also, like, if there are partnerships that just aren't getting the outcomes that we need, you know, what that looks like to sunset them. And, you know, I know I'm just excited about new opportunities, continued opportunities, but I also think we also should think about, you know, if there are decisions that we need to make, that those are happening, especially if there are partnerships that we no longer, you know, need, or there's, well, I won't say need because there's always need, but that we just are separating and going our different ways, and our partnerships that unfortunately, because of the budgetary piece, even if they were impactful programs and partnerships, that we no longer can sustain. I think we do have to have a conversation about that at some point too. So anyways, thank you all for the presentation for our partnerships. And yeah, I'm looking forward to learning more.
Thank you, Board Vice President Pearson. You started at 6:17. It's now 6:27, and we will hear from Board Member Castro.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you all for your presentation. Dr. Goff can certainly speak to the power of mentorship. When I was at La Follette, my second semester freshman year, I'm pretty sure my GPA was around 1.9 or 2.1. And I always say that I had like 2 different high school tracks my first 2 years and my last 2 years. And a few like mentors really helped that. So thank you.
Thank you.
My main question is around the evaluation piece. I'm wondering where we are in next steps, and like and specifically around building up district capacity to conduct these evaluations. So I'm wondering on the timeline on when we expect to start having full like evaluations.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Board Member Castro. Our current process is high intensity partnerships have an evaluation at the end of their 3-year cycle. And so Avid Tops will have an evaluation that is nearing completion, and before we bring forth the next MOA for approval, you will receive an evaluation. I think, as Sonia mentioned, Board Policy 7544, I think one of the things we want to think about with the collection of data and some of the other components moving forward is, what does evaluation look like moving forward? Is it just the end of year goals, and have we met the goals at a certain threshold? Or is it more like an external evaluation that has happened of the past? Those are things that we are really looking forward to diving in and seeing if there would be a recommendation for policy changes, or if the way the policy is would continue moving forward. But currently, external evaluations happen. Avitops will have one this year, but moving forward, I think we want to better understand what is the best use of our time and our resources for evaluating programs, if it's just end of year goals or beyond that.
Yeah, especially with our new framework and the KPIs in that framework. I think that's a very important conversation to have moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Castro. You started at 6:28. It is now 6:30. Is there any other questions or comments from board members? Board Member Sarava, I think it's all you.
Gonna dive back in on some technical stuff now. We got to absorb a little bit more along the way. I was wondering when during the presentation, there were slides that were looking at the categories that we have. And I think I was wondering, I don't know if we can, board can receive it at a later time, like the amount of partnerships that lie within those categories instead of just naming them all, or is that all the categories that we have? I was trying to understand.
That is not all the categories
You know what I
that we have. These are just some of the categories that we pulled from the survey that we shared last year, both district-wide and school-based. So some of these are coming from our school sites, but then also our district-wide partnerships. This is a work in progress. Again, I shared earlier, we're using a depository now, which is called Laserfish, which stores all of our partnerships. So we are actually doing a lot of work to kind of revamp the database to really pull numbers and stories of what lives within this depository. So we will be working on a format that really indicates the different categories within our partnerships. But these categories itself are ones that we pulled from the survey last year.
Sonia, one thing if I could add quick too, as I look at this list, you know, there might be a partnership that is a literacy specific, partnership. It's got adults who form a great relationship with students. So you look at some of the benefits, the literacy is great, but that relationship, the mentorship, time and culture, this school cares about me, my community cares about me. You know, so you can see how the ripples of these partnerships span far more than just a single category too.
Yeah. Thing is,
Sorry, no, go Board Member Saravo, my bad.
if you want to respond to that, that's okay. I can.
I was just gonna say that some partnerships, again, I'll bring forth UW Athletics because they're sitting there, span multiple categories as well, right? So they, just like IYT, literacy, mentorship, they do book giving, like all of that. So I think the idea of these probably trend to be the top categories, not all of the categories, but partnerships also span multiple areas and don't just always focus on one particular component.
Is the goal then that we're going to have categories that they live under, but then there's going to be maybe ability, because we're talking about literacy, which is a big focal point in there, that we're going to be able to say, because of this partnership and this program, this student did gained, or did, I don't even know how to phrase that, to show the impact that it had for the course of time within the program.
Correct. That is our goal.
And is that, you said that's something that's emerging, so we're putting that together
Correct.
now in order to get there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're working to tell that story. Yes.
Okay. A little further down, I made notes earlier, and I don't think the slides have numbers, but I can find it. It said there was that everything is under the new guidance, clarity, and alignment, and accountability there. I'm wondering, how are we assessing the needs of families? Because students we have access to all the time. It references that, so how are we doing that, or is that also an area of finding out what does that mean?
Are you referring to slide 12? I apologize.
Possibly, yes.
Okay. With the guidance? Yes.
Yeah, right on the top.
Right. So throughout the process of becoming a partner starts with our proposal, a partnership proposal. And within our partnership proposal, we call out our framework and our goals within MMSD. Last year goals are still inputted into the proposal, but there is going to be a shift and we're going to be changing that language to really align with our new goal of excellence together. So when we are leveraging partners, yes, the focus is on our scholars and bringing these resources to our schools to support our scholars, but we understand that it's more than that, right? So in order for our scholars to thrive, there's also this other piece, which is their families. So if there's a component or an area within the partnership that calls out for family engagement, we tend to also include that within our partnership. So an example would be, again, YIT, making sure that parents are informed. Focus Interruption does a really great job in aligning these resources with families and opening up their space to have families come into their space and do community outreach or community togetherness. Big Brothers Big Sisters is one of our longtime partners also. They also have opportunities for families to be connected and to be involved and to really understand who these mentors are that are who the bigs are, they're called bigs, who the bigs are that are connected to their littles. So I can't say that every partnership also ties to family. But we do understand in order for our scholars to be whole and in order for the program to be a benefit to them, families need to understand what this partnership is also about. So they are notified. A lot of our partnerships, especially if it calls out for students, is through a referral process. And families do have to sign off on forms indicating that they want their students to be a part of a programming.
Okay. Say something. I think too, that at the school level, like we have systems, most schools that, you know, I can speak for Sandburg, like we have systems in place to elicit feedback from families. So we can use the climate survey. We were doing a needs assessment at one point, but we are also looking at data and looking at trends for individual students. And we have systems in which we will bring in families to kind of partner with them, whether it's around attendance or behavior or academics, to try to see what they need and see how we at the school level can meet the need. And sometimes you'll see trends in what families want and what they need in the community. I think a big one at Sandburg is our families want to be in community with each other. And so then I feel like it's my job to kind of provide them with opportunities to be in community. But I think we at the school level have our systems, or you should, right? To like, what do your families need? Because we are in service to our families. And so I think there's like a school-wide, but I also think it can be individual based too. And then knowing what within our system can we offer to our families, and what partnerships exist or what resources exist for them. So I think a lot of that could also be happening like at the school level. And then we're, you know, then kind of working our way and, you know, trying to see what we can do to help families. So I think, I don't know if that answers the question a little bit around like how we're getting families involved.
I mean, it kind of does. I'm kind of thinking of just like, what does family communication look like in general? Because families communicate in a variety of different ways.
Sure.
And if we don't have constant communication, how do you encourage it? Or what about the voices that you don't necessarily hear? And maybe for reasons of just like people are busy and have, you know, different timelines. So like
I was
Arthur for IT. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna jump in too and say, I think what's really powerful about the partnerships is that we as partners can also provide feedback on what some of the families are saying. So a perfect example for Wisconsin Athletics, our first year was last year. Prior to that, we partnered with the schools whenever a teacher would reach out, and it was very messy. And we found very quickly that teachers and principals were not thriving because we were just picking whoever reached out. In our first year of partnership, the goal with Wisconsin Athletics is for our student athletes, we want to ignite a passion to understand the community is so much bigger than this Wisconsin bubble. And within that, we decided that tickets and getting MMSD students into our spaces so that they could see themselves in that post-secondary space was important, but then also focusing on the literacy was the other big piece for us. So our first year, we offered tickets to the 8 community schools and they would use them as attendance incentives, but it was a small portion of tickets. And through that, we received loud and clear feedback. Families couldn't get to our games. There was too many barriers for affording food at the games, getting parking to get to the games, figuring out our very complex systems of when do you arrive, where do you sit, all of those. So we were able to take that back to Sonia and her team and realize that what would be better is if we took the students and families on a day that the schools could control. So we did our second annual education day where we poured in over 1,000 tickets to the 8 community schools amongst the students and their families. It was an open invite. If you can get here, we'll take care of everything. And that ended up being a huge investment on our part that I think the data shows, both quantitatively and qualitatively, connected with the families in a way that actually fit their needs, in a way that I think will continue to grow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Great.
I just wanted to say, with IYT, communication with parents is not a nice to have, it's a must. It's part of our,
Literally.
we have a 7-week intake process where during that time frame, we're in constant communication with the parents. And then even after, we're in constant communication with parents.
Twice a month minimum.
Mm.
And we basically follow whatever process works best for the parent, but we're supposed to call, email, even text if that's applicable. Each of our school sites has a school phone where we're able to send out text messages because some parents are typically, when we're meeting with their students, they're at work. So a lot of them we call after work. I typically do that if I want to get home later. But then I always send out a follow-up email.
Before we launched in Verona, we had a virtual parents night.
Yes,
We
yes.
met with all the parents virtually because,
Oh.
we understand they have other responsibilities that you
A
can't
lot
see
of
them in person. But some of that qualitative information from that virtual parents night
was very enlightening.
It was, I mean, we had parents, one of them, she said she needs help. And she's so thankful that we're there and that she's seen a change in her child. We were like,
Already.
wow.
Okay.
And we've only, at that time, we had only been there a month.
Yeah, very early.
That's great. I think the best form of feedback you can get is, with the parents
Real
at
time.
home, what's coming home from school.
Literally,
Yeah.
walking in the door right as she was saying it.
Ugh.
Yes.
I hope you don't think you get on this case.
Oh, thanks. I really value that because I think there's sometimes where we just, if we don't have that connection there, we gotta figure it out and
Absolutely.
figure out what the barriers are. And I like the holistic one, of like, there was an obvious barrier and we had to figure it out, and that's great. The last thing that I wanted to ask about at the very end of the presentation that had to do with you're talking about the Schools of Hope and what we had, the partnership with them and what they're moving on to. I am wondering if with that future opportunity, often with UW, it's a partnership with that as well. Is there a cost that's gonna be related to that? Or are we gonna know that down the road? Or what are the assumptions that we're to gain from seeing that last part of the presentation in regards?
With the state that we're in,
Oh, nope, go ahead.
you speaking of with the current state and the future opportunity slide?
Transitioning and tutoring partnership slide.
There is no funding at this moment from the Mortgage Center. Now also, so the transition would be that they would be spearheading the coordination efforts to make sure that volunteers are in the spaces that were utilized by schools of hope, of course, and other schools that support tutoring. But also keep in mind that we do have other partnerships within our school sites that are connected to tutoring. Some of our adaptive school partners volunteer on a regular basis and just do one-on-one connection and reading with some of our scholars and so on. But the coordination that's going to be coming now through the Mortgage Center, there's no funding tied at this time.
I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Board Member Sorrell. Your second set of questions started at 6:31 and ended at 6:44. I just want to thank you all for the presentation this evening. I do really appreciate that you all are exploring options for students to earn academic credit as they participate in your program. I think whether it's independent study credit or credit that's more specific to what they need to graduate, I think that is absolutely the right avenue. I'm an alumni of the Madison Metropolitan School District. I don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for 100 Black men in the Black History Bowl and what it meant to me as a young person, what it meant to my siblings as young people. So it was great to see that up there. And what I want to encourage is that all 12 of our middle school participate next year. We've had that partnership for a really long time, and it is sad to me to see schools opt in and out of an opportunity that's meaningful to our Black students who are not concentrated at any specific school in this district, but attend school across the district. And Black history is relevant to all of our students. And so I really hope that we strengthen and expand programs, especially long-lasting, highly impactful programs. I'm also an alumni of Juventud Moss and the Simpson Street Press, and those were opportunities that were tremendously meaningful to me as a young person, in part because they allowed me the opportunity to travel, and also because Simpson Street Free Press paid us to write. And so I think the different incentives for a young person growing up in poverty are really, really relevant, and that ability to earn and access credit is tremendously important. The last thing I want to highlight is I know that we didn't talk about every single partnership tonight, and that there are so many people who are pouring a tremendous amount of love into the work that we do. And I think it's really important to recognize that as many partnerships as we have supporting our young people, we have a lot of partnerships that are aimed at supporting the adults in our building. And that is not what we talked about, but I don't want anybody to think that because we didn't have that conversation this evening, that's not part of the work that we're doing. So thank you all so much for the work that you're doing and the care you're pouring into it, and for joining us this evening. We have one other topic tonight, and we're gonna dive into that.
Thank you for having us. Thank you all.
So before I dive into summer programming, I just want to also echo and thank our partners that are at the table, and Principal Lopez as well for giving up part of your night before the championship game. Hopefully you're home in time. Thank you all. We really appreciate it.
Tip off is 8:32.
Nikki,
Thank you, Board Member Vanderbilt.
Nikki, I thought you were gonna call me out for not telling my time, since I was from 6:44 to 6:47.
So good to see. Thank you. Good evening.
So Chair Muldrow, let me know when you're ready to jump into our second topic.
I think we're just gonna give folks a few minutes to make their way out of the room, and I will let you guys know as soon as we're ready.
Sure.
Very much.
I appreciate the question.
Out to me. All right. Topic number 2, let's talk about summer semester.
Thank you so much, Chair Muldrow. So our second topic tonight is to give an update on summer programming for 2026, which is right around the corner. You received a memo. You originally received this memo in January, and the memo both provided an update of our progress from last summer, as well as a glimpse into our progress and what we were planning for this summer. What I'd like to do is actually walk you through visually the summer programming opportunities that exist for 2026, and then I will turn it back to you, Board Chair Muldrow, for any questions. So give me 1 second. So enrollment for families for our summer programming starts tomorrow, April 7th. I want to make sure you can see my screen before I continue.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. And the reason why I thought I would do it this way is both for anybody watching, but also as a board, you can see our new website that really provides a comprehensive overview of the programming that we offer. With one caveat, we also have extended school year, or what we call ESY, which isn't an opt-in type of summer programming. So that is worked through directly with our school staff and students that may have an IEP that are required to attend summer. So the items that you will see here are more about families enrolling into the vast array of opportunities that we have. So first, what you will see on my screen is that we have summer programming for 4K through 4th grade at our elementary sites. And I really want to call out that we provide programming for 4K students. So students that are currently in 4K, rising to kindergarten, have an opportunity to attend our summer programming. This programming is all-day programming, both for the 4K students as well as K through 4th grade. And we focus on literacy, math, and the arts. This was able to really come to fruition through a project we did with ESSER funding. And then the Board of Education really committed to this to be able to continue the arts portion of this. You might recall that we heard from families that all-day programming was a much more viable option for them versus half-day programming. And so students receive arts programming, literacy, and math in full-day summer opportunities for 6 weeks. Similarly, in grades 5 through 8, we offer summer programming as well that has arts exploration, has some more recreation run through MSCR, and then has literacy and math as well. This is housed at our high schools. Year 2 for this is at the high schools, whereas last year was the first year was at the high schools. Prior to that, we were at the middle schools, but now that we have access to our high schools, we are hosting some of that at our high schools. We have instrumental lessons for grades 5th through 8. This is something that's been really popular in the last year. You can see here that we have band, we have strings over the summer. Students already enrolled in an instrumental class can receive individualized instruction. If children are interested in this or want to talk to their band teacher, transportation is responsibility of the family as well, not the school district, but then you can click on here. So that's another exciting opportunity. We have this K-11 Arts, the SEAT program, which is really with our community. This is where students are accessing seats at an arts-based community center. And we privilege students that are from low-income backgrounds or students that identify as Black or Brown first. The district covers those seats and students are able to engage in a community program at no cost to them, either for exposure or extension. This is something that's really exciting as well. Sonia mentioned this a little earlier, but we have for the second year in a row, Freedom Schools. Freedom Schools will expand to 100 students, and this will be housed this year at Lori Mann-Carey. We chose a site that was central, and we are also privileging students that were in Freedom Schools last year that would like to continue, and also students from Leopold Elementary School. What we're excited about and continuing and expanding is our career and educational discovery camps for middle school students. You can see here that these are free camps. If you click on this website right here, it'll take you down and it'll show you all of the beautiful opportunities that we have as well as the schedule. You can see that we have automotive, business, coding, construction, culinary, design, drones, engineering, video production, robotics. We have barbering, a vast array of opportunities for students, again, for exposure into areas and exploration to see what they like, and also an opportunity to see what they don't like and they might not want to pursue as they go to high school. We have first-time credit. You might recall as a Board of Education years ago, the only first-time credit that we really offered was physical education and health. Since then, we've created a process where teachers create an application and teachers present to us a course that they would like to offer in the summer. Sometimes it's a newly developed course, and sometimes it's a course that already exists on our books. We have found that this is very popular for our students because it allows them to explore a course that they might not be able to fit into their schedule. And it also allows them to take courses that can then advance them to earn credit to both either gain more credits and to extend. The courses that we have for this upcoming summer are some here that I want to show you about. Just kidding. No, it's not there. I will read you some of the courses when I'm done here, but there's some really cool.
You want to click the 9th through 12th grade enrollment info.
Oh, sorry.
Got it.
Yeah. I had the list of them, sorry, as I'm navigating. Let me see if it's here. Thanks, Dr. McCray. Thank you. There we go. I knew it was here. First time credit. Sorry, we have an accordion thing here. So some of the courses, ACT Prep, AI Unlocked, preparing for an AI world. Super exciting, right? I want to take that class. Algebra 1, Algebra 2, we've got Challenges and Adventures, Digital Photography, Ecology Field Study, we've got some English classes, Exploring Madison Spanish DLI, Foundations of Physical Activity, you get the point. So we have a really beautiful array of courses that students can take for first time. In addition to that, we also offer credit recovery for students that either need to make up a credit that they didn't do well on, or students need to ensure that they have the credits for graduation. So we have credit recovery. We also, for the first time this year, will have a special set of courses over at East High School that are standards-based learning courses in English, math, science, and social studies to align with the work they're doing around standards-based grading, where students would work towards the standards that they didn't master during the school year versus an entire course. And last but not least, MSCR and all of our programming. And what's beautiful about MSCR is we have programming both for students to engage in the programming, but we also offer the programming where our high school students are actually working in the summer. So we both have programming to access as a student, but we have work experience opportunities for our high school students to get that experience in school, earn credit, and also on the job training. So we have MSCR at middle, elementary, and high school. Within this website, the last thing that I will just call out that I think is important that Chair Mulder, you and I talked about is where families register. And there's a registration right here on our website. And registration opens up tomorrow, April 7th, for all of these programs. So I will take a pause and I will turn it back to you, Chair Muldrow, for any questions from the Board of Education.
Thank you so much, Cindy Green. I really appreciate you reminding the community that registration for our summer semester starts tomorrow. Board Member Mosner-Thaltha.
Thanks, Chair. And thank you, Cindy, for the memo and for all of your work. I hate to be negative when there's so many amazing opportunities that you described, but I'm bristling at the way MSCR is not included in the memo. I'm bristling at like that we would highlight one set of programming opportunities and sort of like not highlight all these other set of summer programming opportunities. I'm bristling that MSCR is missing when MSCR provides all of that afternoon programming for summer semester for elementary school students. And I think I'm bristling because I'm concerned that we have like dueling or duplicative projects, right? Like MSCR has middle school camps, but now also so does CTE. And not that I don't want students to have access to CTE camps, but I'm struggling a little bit with what seems to me to be like dual efforts to support students in the summer. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what distinguishes these or why we're treating them so separately, or if you'd prefer to just sort of like take my cool feedback and go with it. Because what I don't want to have happen is that we have a dual system where anywhere in our system where students can do one thing that's considered one thing and a different thing that's considered a different thing, but actually ought to be under one umbrella. So that's my cool feedback for what is otherwise really, really exciting. And I'm sorry to be the Debbie Downer. And again, I really appreciate the work and look forward to seeing how many students enroll, because our enrollments have been going up and students are getting so much out of them. But I am feeling a little weird about that. And I'm the MSCR board liaison, so I feel close to that work, and I feel like it's kind of my responsibility to put that into the space.
Thank you, Board Member Mosner-Feltham. I should clarify a couple of things. One, MSCR and Mary Roth's team and Nicole Schaefer, who leads summer programming, work incredibly close all summer to ensure that it is seamless and streamlined. If there's a miss in the memo, I apologize for that. For example, when you mentioned kind of MSCR is in our elementary schools and our middle schools, the programming I mentioned about all-day programming with arts integration and with the arts is led by our MSCR team. So we couldn't do those full-day programming without the partnership with MSCR. Similarly, we ensure that CTE discovery camps and our other camps that MSCR offer are not duplicative, and we are working on that. Now, might there be ways that we can continue to ensure that we improve that and call that out? Absolutely. But MSCR is a huge part of our summer programming. Same thing for our high school students earning credit and their work experience that they are able to obtain with working at MSCR. So there is a lot of collaboration over the summer, but I appreciate the cool feedback for ways that we can continue to streamline and strengthen.
Thanks.
Any further questions, Board Member Mosner-Feltham?
That's it.
Thank you. Board Member Saravo. And I'm sorry, Board Member Mosner-Feltham, you started at 6:58 and you're done at 7:02.
Thank you, Chair Muldrow. I wanted to dive into that. I see that ESY is mentioned in the introduction, and then the only spot that we see it re-referenced, from what I could find, is how many students attended. Is that all the information we're sharing today?
For ESY, so as I mentioned, ESY is a requirement for students in the summertime. And so while we absolutely offer it and we try and have ESY at every one of our summer sites, it isn't an opt-in kind of opportunity where families sign up similar to these other programs for that, as important as these other programs, but it isn't a program where families just register and opt in. There's a little bit of a different approach. So I think that was the reasoning behind mentioning it for how many students we serve and how I mentioned it at the beginning, the importance of it, but wasn't going to show up in this opting in opportunity.
I'm struggling with that, having so very little information provided about it in here, because there is a lot of work that has to go into even being in that program. Like, you have to qualify for it, and there's a lot of professionals that are doing a lot of work for that particular program. I have a lot of respect for it because my daughter does it all the time, but I also know that some families aren't qualified for it. And right now we do, from my understanding, we don't have a space for the students that don't qualify for ESY, but that we don't have enough supports in place for summer programming. Would that be an accurate statement?
So the first part of your statement is completely accurate, that it is very important and there is a lot that goes into it, and the staff that run ESY are amazing. In terms of our other programmings, they're all inclusive. Any student is able to attend any of those programming. However, we do not implement IEPs in the other summer programming that I highlighted. So while a student is more than welcome to attend, their IEP or IEP needs are not supported through the specificity in the summer programming.
Oh, do you have a number? I'm assuming then you have data that would speak to students with IEPs that are attending summer school.
I do not have that number offhand. I could talk to our team to see if that's something that we are able to obtain based on student identification numbers, and then looking at if students have IEPs. But offhand, I don't have it, and I would have to check with the team.
I would be very interested in that. And then I'm also wondering if there's an expectation of a student who does fit into that particular category if it would be in their best interest to have a support person in order to meaningfully access and participate in the type of programming. Is that something that we have done, that we could do? Or like, where is that conversation? Or has it been one that has someone already experienced that? Like, do we actively do that? I guess is what. It's like with MSCR, they might have another person, like a support person to be with a student. Variety of reasons. I'm wondering, do we do the same thing for summer school?
Thank you. I really appreciate that question. That is not currently the plans. If that was something that we want to discuss and engage in further, we would have to have conversations and then think about budgetary implications. But that isn't something that we have done in the past, where added staff to meet a particular student's needs in the summer programming I discussed currently exists. I appreciate the question.
Be very much interested in exploring that further and seeing how many families that would potentially positively impact if that was an opportunity for some students to engage with some of these really interesting courses that are out there. They are accessible to everybody, but also there are very specific ways that students might have to access that or fall into the category of not having access to either program, which I am uncomfortable with that being a space, even if that might be something that's going on. I would like to explore opening up our programming to see what support looks like there, or what is access like for students who just need a little bit of extra support along the way. Thank you. On my time.
Thank you, Board Member Saravo. You started asking questions at 7:03. It's now 7:07. Further questions or discussion from board members? All right, seeing none. I want to thank you all so much for talking to us about summer semester and this opportunity for our young people. Want to remind folks again, tomorrow is election day, and it's also the day that you can sign up your student for summer semester. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved. So moved.
Thank you so much, Board Member Van Meulen, and I heard a second from Board Member Castro.
Yep, second.
All right, all those, Claire, your advisory vote?
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Good night.